Hey, 5th and 6th graders, it's Mrs. Fondre, and today we're talking all about color theory, okay? And that's kind of a big idea, so let's make it a little simpler. This idea that you can literally make millions of colors from just 3: red, yellow, and blue. Those are your primary colors, and they're pretty much in charge of making every other color. And now if you throw white and black into there, you got shades or different values, light and dark versions of a color. So there are infinity colors that are technically out in the world. Then you probably, if you create them once, it'd be really hard to recreate them unless you really practice and train yourself to get there. So we're going to take a little step into this pool, and we're going to be making our primary colors, our secondary colors, which are orange, green, and violet. And we're going to talk a little bit about tertiary colors, which is secondary and primary mixed together. So in the building right now, we're going to be doing a project that looks a little bit like this. And it's very rainbow because, you know, it's all the colors, but they're all slightly different from each other. All right. So I'm going to show you how to do this version with the boxes because there are 15 boxes here. But if you want to do something different with 15 circles, 15 hearts, 15 other shapes, feel free to do that. All right. So I like this method though because it puts the tertiary color, which is that level 3 color, by both of them. So for example, red orange is by the color red and the color orange. Okay, it's kind of difficult to see with the lighting here, but those two colors are connected to orange and red, so I'm able to put it by both of them. All right, just like yellow, green, you can see those are a little bit easier to see, would go by yellow and by green. All right, so if you're doing this method, you'll be using the tertiary colors twice. All right, but let me talk about the basics of how to get there. So I guess if we were technically only using tertiary one time, it'd be 3 primaries, 3 secondaries, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tertiaries. So there's a math there, that's 12 colors. All right, so let me show you how this is going to work. We're going to keep it simple today, and we are using paint. So if you don't have paint, I would be happy to get you some in the office, or I know probably the dollar store might have some, even the pig might have some. I'm not looking for very expensive fancy paint. I'm just getting tempera paint today. That's washable for the most part, so if you do drop it on something, it should come out. But be warned, it's still paint, so it might not come out all the way. All right. So what I want you to do before you get started, lay out how you want to put your paint into your paper. All right, I put my boxes down already. So if you want to do different shapes, do that first with pencil and go very lightly because you're going to be using the color yellow. And yellow is very, very light, so you'd see the pencil through it. So from here, let me switch my camera. All right, and I'm going to talk to you how to mix all these up. All right, so I'm going to start with primary colors because that's all I have. You can see I have my red in the corner here, yellow, and blue. And it's a very smart decision if you're using primary colors to start with yellow because yellow is the brightest and will change the fastest once you mix other colors in with it. All right, so I'm going to start with a flat paintbrush. Also, if you need any paintbrushes, let me know. I'd happily lend some out to you. I'm going to start with yellow, and I'm going down the middle. So I'm thinking red, orange, yellow. Okay, so I have nowhere I'm going to put my yellow, and I am going to slowly paint that in. All right, I'm taking my time. I am very much looking for neat work on this. So while you're painting, really go slow. Okay, it's not a race to the finish. And I am thinking when we do this in class, it's going to take probably 3 or 4 classes because I really, like I said, I want you to take your time. We're doing quality work here. I'm probably going to speed up through this video at some point because you don't need to watch me slowly painting the whole time. But I just want to show you how this works. All right. So I'm starting with yellow. I will move on to red and I'll move on to blue. So while I'm painting, I'll speed up so you can start your painting or fast forward to where I'm ready to the next step. All right. So here we go. All right. So I got my primary colors in, and I know with my camera, it's not the best to see. It almost looks orange on my camera, but this is very much red. All right. So from here, I've been kind of keeping my paintbrushes off to the side on a cup of water, and I haven't actually dumped them in yet. Okay. Because I'm going to reuse some of them while I'm mixing colors. All right. So when you're mixing colors, I'm actually going to move my painting out of the way. You're going to want a big surface to work on. I have a plastic tray, maybe a paper plate would work good for you. And this paint, like I said, is washable, but if you're planning on using this again, make sure that it's not something you'll eat off of, all right? Because you don't want to eat something paint was on top of. So our next step is to do our secondary colors. So I'm going to start with orange, and I'm going to grab one of the brushes I already used. I have a bunch of brushes, but you're welcome to wash them in between, so it makes life a little easier for you, all right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of take a little scoop of red here and put it in the middle. And I'm going to take my dirty brush and scoop into the yellow. However, do I want to go directly into the middle? No, I don't want to do that because I want to save the yellow and keep it nice. So I'm going to take a scoop from the side and I'm going to mix it into my red. And you'll notice right away, yellow gets kind of gets sucked into the red, and it's hard to see. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't quite look orange yet. It looks more red. Well, hint, 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 you've already made a tertiary color. You've made red orange, okay? So if you would like to use this right away, you could. That would be fine. But I'm going to aim straight for orange here because that's what I'm going for. If you'd want to use your tertiary color right away, you would be putting it near your red and your orange. However, like I said, I don't have my orange yet, so I'm going to keep working on orange. I think it's helpful often to kind of use a color wheel on the internet, or I have a couple printed in the classroom I use in class, and try to get to that perfect orange color. You can see I'm kind of leaning in and looking because the light is a little tricky here. But once you have a solid orange color, make sure you kind of squish your brush out. Normally, when you get older, you use a palette knife to mix your paint because you see you get all sorts of like gunked up colors in your brush, which is not ideal for mixing colors. So you use a little palette knife or almost like a butter knife kind of to mix them all together. But once you have your secondary colors, you're going to add them in between your primary colors. So it'll be the same process for green and purple, or violet, I should say. And I want to specify saying violet because violet is red and blue mixed together, and it's going to be a very dark color. All right, if I show you my painting once again, whoa, you can see violet is very, very dark. I like to think purple as more of a violet with white mixed into it so you can see the color more. All right, so I'm going to continue mixing up my secondary colors. I'm going to fast forward here in just a minute, and you can continue working on yours, pause the video as you need to. But one other thing I want to mention, when you're mixing your green, which is coming up next for me, yellow, again, you're going to use more yellow probably than blue because, like I said, yellow is one of those colors that gets mixed in right away. So I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to keep mixing those colors, and I will check back with you in just a moment. So one thing I want to mention too, if you're painting your secondary colors and you're like, ooh, that looks much more different on the paper than it did on my palette or on my surface I'm mixing paint, what you can do, because this paint's still wet, feel free to grab some paint and mix it in as you go, okay? Because I'm like, ooh, my violet got really blue. I did not mean for that to happen. So you can still mix your paint while it is wet, all right? So that's the best thing about paint. It dries, but you can always paint over it, or you can always mix it while it's still wet, okay? So again, still taking your time. I'm gonna quick finish this up. All right, so I got my primary, I got my secondary. Now I will be moving on to tertiary. Now I think at this point you kind of are understanding and you're seeing these colors. So I'm gonna switch my camera back because I don't think you need to keep watching me mix colors at this point. So see, I got a little painty already. So the next step is doing those tertiary colors. So that's red orange, so an orange with more red, yellow orange, an orange with that's more yellow, a yellow green that's more yellow, blue green, more blue, a blue violet, which is more blue, and a red violet, which is more red. Okay, and notice while I was saying those names, you say the primary color first. So you don't say orange red, say red orange, right? So like I said, if you decided to do this a different way, that is fine. I just like having practice to mixing these into nice even boxes to make it kind of look a little bit more like a geometric modern rainbow. That's kind of my idea behind this project. But however you'd like to turn these in, that would be great. Again, if you need brushes, if you need paint, I got cups, I can send some home to you, just let me know. Okay, I even got paper, got it, it's in my room, I'll give it to you, all right? So when you're done mixing up primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, please put these on Artsonia, okay? I would definitely talk about color because that's what this project is all about. You might want to talk about the shapes you use. You might want to talk about maybe you did something three-dimensional in the space. Maybe you did patterns. I don't know what you're doing, so it's going to be kind of fun to see what you talk about, right? So, like I said, make sure you turn these in. Get these in the grade book. It'd be great, all right? I'm not sure how long this project's going to last for folks in the building. Like I said, maybe 2 or 3 classes because this is a time-consuming. You're taking your time, being neat, thoughtful, looking, seeing. And you'll notice too while you're painting, when the paint dries, it's going to maybe look different than when it's wet. If you look at my green right now, actually my camera's over here. If you look at my green right now, it looks like it's 2 different colors, and that's because it's drying. So maybe when you do this, you're like, oh no, that's not the color I wanted. And you can go over paint again. It's fine. That's how it works out. So questions, concerns, if you need supplies, let me know. Looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Happy creating.